Hi, welcome to Troop TV. I'm David Nava, your host, and we're here today with Peter Van Brady, President of Southern California VA Homes, and also Brandon Brashears, Peter's partner. So, Peter, how did you get into this business?
Well, the origins are actually pretty unfortunate. I'll be brief with it. I had an ex-employee that was United Flight 175, the second, I believe, second flight to hit the Twin Towers. Brilliant young woman, and I realized that at that time I really wanted to help firemen and policemen,
Yes.
of which I was doing some mortgage business with. And I started reaching out to more of them, and as it turns out, most of them are veterans.
Right.
A lot of them. I discovered that, so I started reaching out more into the active and retired military market. Then it kind of went away because prices went up, and the VA loan limits didn't keep up with those prices. So the whole proposition of using your VA benefit for home ownership sort of disappeared, for probably about 4 or 5 years, and then prices just caved in. In about 2008, the market just lit up again. And because prices were down and rates were down, you really saw Southern California's VA population start to purchase homes again.
Right. So that's what we're, let me back up a minute. So we're talking about your business is mortgage and real estate.
Correct.
Okay. And so the market picked up about 2008?
Market picked up, and as we started helping these folks, and then a lot of the business that we do is refinance as well, we discovered that these folks were not getting everything that they wanted. It was real clear to us that they were making a lot of concessions and sacrifices in terms of if this is their ideal, well, they came in and bought about right here. And then they would go out and spend credit cards and adopt installment loans to try and dress up the property that didn't quite meet their needs. So they were trying to achieve what they really wanted in terms of livability after the fact. And we realized that. And in 2008, because the mortgage business was so stuck in the mud, I started a real estate investment management company. Suddenly I had an idea a couple years ago. And it was, well, what if we could go out and we could buy these foreclosures out in the marketplace at a deep discount, and then find a veteran client that was interested in actually owning that home, but dress it up.
Interesting.
What if they could envision all of the flooring choices and new carpet and stainless steel appliances,
right,
and imagine the house as they really wanted it? What if they could do all of that with zero down and zero closing costs? So then I surveyed my whole client base. Every one of them thought it was an amazing idea, and frankly they asked me, why weren't you there when I bought this original home?
Exactly. That's my question. I bought a home in 2008, and I had that very same problem, and actually it was at pretty much the top of the market, so I overpaid, and of course what I got was not what I wanted. So where were you, Peter?
Yeah, we find that story so common over and over again. And so then the concept was born to merge our mortgage business with our real estate investment management business to go out and buy these homes for cash, renovate them, and offer them to our VN clientele with zero down, zero closing. But then it got more interesting, because the market began to change in the last year and a half. As we came to market with this idea, literally all the foreclosures, a lot of people are under the misconception that in today's real estate market it's still a seller's market. There's or a buyer's market, excuse me, that there's tons of homes out there in the marketplace, and exactly just the opposite is true. The market has really shrunken in terms of the amount of inventory that's available. Frankly, there's just aren't as many homes to buy.
And rents are going up? And
rents are going up. And so our veteran men and women are forced to now actually look at a property that's even maybe a little bit lower quality than they could have a year and a half ago. Or, unfortunately, David, the biggest problem that they now face is in many communities, especially in the ethnic communities like the Vietnamese, Filipino, where somehow they find a lot of cash, and they're paying cash for homes.
Right.
So these real estate agents that are representing them, who do you want to work with? Do you want to work with the cash buyer or even the conventional buyer that's got 20 or 30% down? Or do you want to work with the VA buyer that has no skin in the game, right, that has more constrictive appraisal requirements, where the seller needs to pay more closing costs, right, and the transaction takes longer? These buyers are unfortunately ignored and oftentimes just swept under the carpet. So we are in a position where our value proposition, what we do for our clients, is now more important than ever because we're buying that property cash.
Right.
We're in pole position to purchase that property. And then when we're buying that property, it's because we have a buyer that's really interested in ultimately owning that property as it's dressed up and remodeled into something spectacular that really meets their needs. And it gets even better, and you can ask me more about this later, about the Specially Adaptive Housing Grant and how that can be of help to folks as well.
Okay, and so we have your partner here, Brandon. And so would you like to ask Brandon something that he can address? So Brandon does construction for you?
Brandon's background is in construction and real estate investment. And I think Brandon can probably, it's an enormous challenge that we face because there's so many moving parts to deliver the result. And part of that challenge is to find the property that has some renovation potential, but that we don't go massively over budget in terms of spending too much money, and then the client can't afford it, or we can't appraise it. So there's a sweet spot in there to make all this work and really please the client.
And that's
the ultimate
Brandon's function.
And Brandon does all the budgeting and some of the acquisition as well.
It's tricky because we have to buy the properties. In our most recent transaction, it took about 18 cash offers. We make all of our offers cash, close in about 21 days. So our offers are extremely attractive to the people selling the houses.
Brandon, I think you mentioned Imperial Beach earlier.
Yeah, Imperial Beach is where we are doing our most recent transaction. And we had to make about 15 offers to get one accepted. That was to the level of the quality that the buyers wanted. It was what they envisioned they could live in.
I see. So tell me a little bit about the property.
So the property, well, first we had to find properties that meet their qualifications, and then we go and we make cash offers, and if anything gets accepted, then we take the clients out to see the homes. Because it just is such a tight market right now that if we just go out and look at listed homes, chances are we're going to spend months and months. It took us about, I'd say, 3 or 4 months just to get one home accepted. Us making cash offers, close in 21 days, no contingencies, which is the best offer that you can make. So it's really difficult first to just find a house that they would be interested in having as their house. And then once we get it accepted, we go through and we make their wish list of everything that they would want done. Everything from light fixtures to what kind of appliances they want, what do they want the outside of the house to look like. We did everything.
Landscaping.
Yeah, we did a new hardscape on the house. We changed the direction that the front door swung open from, so we get really, really detailed.
Feng shui there.
They're getting a really big TV, an 80-inch TV in the house, so they had to put their couch far back enough away so the door would have hit the couch if it would swing the other way.
80 inches is probably about the size of the wall behind it.
Yeah.
Or the picture on the wall, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
so, and once we close on it, we get right to work. We do all the renovations, and we have to make sure that, because we can't sell a house, the VA has very strict guidelines, and that's really good for our buyers because they're protected really well. So we can't sell a house to someone for more than it's worth. It has to appraise. So we do all of our renovations, and we have to make sure it appraises for the right amount to make it work.
So the cost of the renovations and the 80-inch TV are added to the back end of the loan, or to the total cost of the loan?
We basically go through all the items and their wish list and say, here's what this will cost, and here's what we think that the house can appraise for at this fixed up level. Is this okay with you? And we show them what their payment's going to be, and we take a look at everything, and if it all works out, that's the right amount and everything, then we begin work at that level,
Wow.
basically.
So what is your a typical renovation waiting period?
It's anywhere from, usually, the thing that's taking longer now is the financing than renovations. So,
I see.
yeah, it's a 30 to 90-day renovation period.
Well, so
typically.
what's your background in construction?
I have a background in electrical, mostly, but all the trades in general contracting. So,
I see. You mentioned that your parents.
yeah, my parents were general contractors, so that's how I got into the business. And
Awesome. Wow, that's excellent.
yeah,
So Peter, let's see. So let's get back to this. It says here that this is the new way for Southern California's VA home buyers to overcome today's odds and achieve your family's home ownership dreams. Now, I can relate to that. As I mentioned, I purchased a home in 2008, and it was I am a veteran, but I did not even use my VA benefits for the reasons that you specified earlier. So could you talk about some of the greatest challenges that the VA, someone trying to go VA, would experience?
Sure. I think the biggest challenge that they experience is that they don't know that they can use their benefit. There is an elderly population out there. We've got tons and tons and tons of clients that are between the ages of 60 to 80. And someone must have asked those people. There are loan clients. They're from our mortgage company. We know this because we've got their birthdays and all that. But someone must have asked them the right question. Are you a veteran? Have you considered using your VA benefit? And they may have said, you mean I can?
Right.
There are more people that don't understand their benefits. The VA financing benefit never goes away. This is a lifetime benefit.
And it goes up.
Well, the entitlement is a set amount right now.
Well, I remember in 1983, when I got out of the military, my benefit was about $175,000 that they would guarantee. And so in today's terms, if I'm thinking back to that benefit, what am I going to do with $175,000? So I hear, now you correct me if I'm wrong, that the benefit is much closer to $500,000 or even more now.
That's correct. The actual the benefit will cover the entire loan limit that is set by the average real estate prices in each county in the country. And
So it's variable.
56 or some odd counties that we have here in California, it's different in each county, and those loan limits adjust each year as the prices adjust in these counties. And as you know, prices have come down a bit in the last few years. There are actually folks that are buying, or were, million-dollar homes with no money down and no closing costs, using their VA in high-cost counties like Marin outside of San Francisco, where it's very expensive. So, the biggest challenge is knowing that the benefit is there, and everybody who receives an honorable discharge has that benefit in their back pocket. So once the benefit is there, you want to match up that loan limit in your county, and can you find a home that meets your livability standards, at that loan amount or lower, in order not to put any money into the transaction. Right. 19 times out of 20, the answer is yes.
So
especially.
What is the loan limit in LA County since?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
it's $635,000.
Is it? Okay, very good. It's different in every county. There's probably 15 different loan limits throughout the state, and getting on in my years these days, I leave it up to the computer to right. continue to retain all that information, right. so I can pull it up. But the next biggest challenge, as we had mentioned, is just getting under contract, being a VA buyer and saying, I'd like to use my benefit. I'm a qualified buyer. I want to buy a house right now. The real estate community has varying degrees of acceptance for that. If you're a buyer's agent representing that buyer, okay, you're going to be less apt to want to represent that buyer because it's more work on your end to get an accepted contract, to have the seller say, you know what, I'm going to accept that contract or that offer. Let's imagine it's a $500,000 house and the buyer only puts down a $3,000 deposit. Well, normally you might have a $15,000 to $30,000 just escrow deposit, just earnest money into escrow. So,
Peter, let me.
yeah, sure.
We're going to have to take a break, so we'll get back with Peter Brady and SoCalVAHomes in a minute. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.